and Elevation Radio.
All right. This is Elevation Radio 1, and I'm your host, Pastor Steve, the Music Man Turner, and we thank you for taking the journey with us. This is the program that spotlights positive people doing positive work while serving a positive God whose name is Jesus. And hopefully you're doing all right in the middle of this pandemic experience. Our subject matter today is change in Baltimore. Change in Baltimore. Can the poor have hope again? Can the poor have hope again? And living in the city can be dangerous and a survival of the fittest. However, those elected to fight for us and be on our side should not be following their own interests. In a city filled with corruption, from City Hall to the church, who can the people put hope in? Can the people ever hope again? My goodness. And something to think about if you have some issues, some problems, some circumstances, or something you'd like to discuss in the middle of this situation here. Coronavirus, corruption in City Hall, my goodness, corruption in the White House. You can call at 1-914-205-5353, 1-914-205-5353. And before we get started, let's go to our segment, The Verse to Rehearse, none other than by my lovely wife, Lady Leora Turner. Speak on it.
Hello. I said, oh, my God, take me not away in the midst of my days. Thy years are throughout all generations. Of old has thy laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. They perish, but thou shalt endure. Ye all of them shall wax old like a garment, as a baxter, thou shalt change them, and they shall be changed.
Being changed is very important. Thank you, sweetheart. Change is very important. And the meaning of change is to make or become different. To make or become different. And so we're required to change. It's very important. We change physically. We should be changing emotionally. And we should be changing psychologically. But most of all, we should be changing spiritually, which actually leads to all of the other. Now, in Malachi 3:1, it says, I am the Lord, I do not change. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. And so God is constant and consistent and reliable and faithful. And we are supposed to be having on this program today a young candidate who's challenging an incumbent who's been in office for at least 15 to 20 years of absolute nothing. Absolute. How can I put it? It was a recent Facebook posting where someone asked the question of the fact that the grass in the segment of Zone 21215 and a major thoroughfare, or major segment of the area street, was completely just horrible looking. At grass as high as the grasses in Amazon, and folks probably could be buried there. You would not be able to tell. So they asked the current incumbent, could she actually get the grass cut by the means of the city Department of Public Works. And the response came back. What do you think the response was, sweetheart?
I don't know. Let them tell them.
Okay. The response was, well, since the coronavirus, the DPW, Department of Public Works, is not available, and you're going to have to wait until after this is over before that happens. She said, my God, you could probably not be able to walk through there because it'll be so high, but okay. So I put a post on to say that there was a young man who was running for office. She's got a competitor for the first time, that if you asked him, he would get, somebody to do it, even if he had to go out there himself and roll up his sleeves and do it himself, because they have no problem. He is an influencer of the area, especially the young people, to actually get involved with cleaning up their own community, which is very important. His name is Taurus Barksdale. Taurus, Taurus Barksdale. And he is actually running for the city council seat, I believe, to be in that area where he lives and has a passion for the people. He's seen quite often taking food and clothing and to area nursing homes in an area. You can see the residents being actually pleased by the fact that they are not forgotten. They're visited and are appreciated. And in their hour of need, here comes young Taurus Barksdale. And he was doing it because he loves the area, he loves the people. Very contrary to the current incumbent, who is very politicized, heavily connected, and rather on the bougie side. Doesn't want to get her nails dirty. Doesn't want to get her hair unkempt. Basically, I've seen her and some of the other her colleagues sitting in restaurants and just kind of joking, laughing, and just having fun, acting in an inappropriate manner. So my point is, for having him on this program, was to give him a chance to speak to the listeners, to let them know what he was all about in terms of what he could bring to the table. I believe that he has had an emergency. The city of Baltimore has changed the voting registration deadline, and they just made the change on Wednesday, which requires somebody to, or candidates, especially new candidates, to have to adjust themselves, I think, before Friday. So it's unfortunately another example of corruption here to swing the side to the incumbent. Wow. If we could find change, my goodness. If you have an opinion, if you have a story of what you would like to hear, then you can call in at 1914-205-5353. It says here, according to psychologists, when they make a diagnosis of change, or the need for change, they say that the most third and deepest level of change is actually getting hundreds and thousands of people to change their minds. And it's actually referred to as cultural change. Which is very difficult. We can see that in the news today because some folks are having a problem in staying at home, sheltering in place. They have a problem with changing to the advice of governors around the nation who are saying you need to stay home because the virus is spreading. We don't want any more contaminations. But they are so used to their lifestyle, so used to doing what they want to do and doing what they want when they want, that they are openly and forcibly violating the stay-at-home orders by even protesting at the seat of City Hall or the governor's office. And I must say, I don't know if I should say it. Should I say it, sweetheart?
Say it.
You say it's okay?
It's okay.
All right, I don't want to get in trouble. But I will say that when I look at the news and I watch this, there are mainly white people standing outside, violating, protesting, and disobeying the laws of the land. I have noticed also that they are never arrested. They are never accosted or fined by the police. Yet, my goodness, if a black pastor wants to have a service and spaces people 10, 6 feet with the social distancing, and he can have mask on in the church and sanitize the sanctuary, and they have gloves, that the police are sent in to raid the church and to threaten the pastor and actually even to arrest him.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for change. My goodness. Oh, my Lord. I would think that a pandemic like this, and you know what the word, when I looked at it, what pandemic actually was given a revelation what it means? You're supposed to say yes. What is it? Thank you, sweetheart. We're still working together, I tell you. It's panic plus epidemic equals pandemic.
Wow.
God says, fear not, fret not. Do not worry about a thing. Do not worry about your life. Do not worry about the clothes you're going to wear, the food you're going to eat. Because life is more than just food. Life is more than just a change of clothes. There is a necessity to bless your neighbor. There's a necessity to worship God. There's a necessity to love even your enemies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this kind of thing is not popular, but it's just the way it is.
Amen.
Why do you think change is important?
To me, I think change is a necessary part of life, because without change, there would be no life at all. I look at it like our lives are actually fluid by change. Most of us want a certain amount of stability. And if we can learn to accept change as a helpful friend rather than something to be avoided, you may experience a lot less stress in your life.
That's very good. That's very good. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And so when you say that here in Baltimore, where there is a necessity for change because of institutional racism, because of longstanding policies of oppressing the poor, even gating up the area where the homeless can reside out in the open. Several mayors have done that. Stephanie Rawlings Blake did it, and so Jack Young is doing it. He's even actually gating up and putting plastic barriers to the playgrounds so that parents in the city can't, they can't take their children out. Although it says that you can go out to the parks and